All right, 6 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We have a pretty exciting event happening in Ocala a week from Saturday over at the library. It is the second annual Book Feast, the 2013 Book Feast. Last year's Book Feast was a huge success. And if you are planning to go to the Book Feast, don't just write down the date. Make sure you know the times. It's only a 3-hour event. It's from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Not this Saturday, but the week 1 week from Saturday. I'll get through this, and you will get to meet many of the authors that we've had on this show, especially during the past week, because we have a specially made room for the authors that will be there. And right now we have 2 more. Jessica Nelson has actually been with us before. She is an award-winning author. She's, I guess you don't mind being called a romance novelist, do you? No, that's what you do. You write romance novels, and very, very popular. And Greg Didaleusky is with us, and I don't remember if you were here last year, were you? No, okay, I didn't think so. And not only are you an author, but you're also a teacher. You just told us you were a teacher, and the students had fun with your name, and you're a physician's assistant, and your beautiful wife, Holly, is here with you. Jessica and Greg, let's see, Jessica, your book is called, the one we're talking about anyways, Love on the Range. That's one of many of your books. Inspirational historical romance novels, by the way, is what she does. And Greg, the books I have from you, Frozen, Death, and Concealed Warnings. Okay, let's find out about these. I'll turn around so I don't look so rude, keeping my back to you here. Jessica, and we've got a new studio being built, and I won't be doing this anymore, so I'll be facing you as I talk to you.
Not here in this building, in the new building.
Yeah, we're moving to the mall. We're moving to the mall.
Awesome.
Well, good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Jessica, did you have a good time last year at the Book Feast?
Yes, I loved it.
Yeah. What was your favorite part about that experience?
I think talking to people about books, like when they would stop by and ask questions, or
Did you have a lot of writer? I hate the word wannabe, but I'm just drawing a blank of what else to say.
Not too many, but there were a few.
Yeah.
There were some, so that was fun to talk to them about publishing and just writing in general.
Do you like that part of what you do? I don't know
writing?
If that's, no. I know you like the writing part, but do you like the other stuff that you have to do as a writer, the legal stuff? And
I
all
wouldn't
that?
really like sales or promotion type stuff as much, but I do love to talk about writing and books.
And when we call them inspirational historical romance novels, explain the inspirational historical part.
Well, the setting is historical. It's usually before World War II. And the inspirational part just simply means that while the characters are falling in love, they're also maybe learning something about God or progressing in their spiritual journey somehow. Like maybe they had trouble with forgiveness, and then they figure out how much God loves them and forgives them, and then they learn how to forgive others. There's a spiritual journey as well as an emotional journey.
Yeah, I think every person that's ever fallen in love for the first time says there is a God. So I think that's probably true. By the way, we were just having fun this morning. The couple on the cover of this book, the man looks like the former mayor of Ocala, Randy Ewers.
Really?
Do you know Randy?
No.
Except Randy's tall, so that would mean that the woman is very tall.
She is tall.
Oh, she is tall.
She's supposed to be tall.
Well, see, there you go.
Yeah.
So that's Randy and Mrs. Randy, I guess. Greg, tell me about your writing.
Well, I've been writing for about 5-6 years. First novel was in 2009.
Okay, all right.
That was Frozen Death. And that novel sort of inspired me living in Ocala. It takes place in Ocala at a newly built male prison. And strange things are happening. 2 inmates suddenly freeze to death for no apparent medical reason. And then the ER, or the doctor at the infirmary at the correctional center, meets up with the sheriff detective, and they together try to figure out why these inmates froze to death. And then they find out through the local newspaper, the old Banner, Ocala Banner.
The old Banner.
Yes, old Banner.
Yeah, I like that.
That there have been other people dying of suddenly freezing to death for no apparent reason.
Wow. It's almost like the spontaneous combustion things you hear.
It's very similar.
This
very
is spontaneous freezing.
Spontaneous freezing,
But
exactly.
only in the prison. It's not happening.
Yes, it is happening. That's what they find out.
Oh,
yeah,
I
turn of the
gotcha.
century. In the
I gotcha.
1890s, there were people, according to Indian lore. Now, this Indian lore is tied into the book. The Indians that lived in this area sort of kept it hush-hush. It was a secret. But
Did you say 1990s?
1890s.
Oh, 1890s.
1890s,
Okay.
yeah.
So is this historic? I mean, is it really?
It's based on facts,
Really?
loosely. Very loose facts.
Hmm.
But there's nothing in the medical journals about it.
What did you teach?
I taught high school science.
Science. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that makes sense. So
Plus, I also taught some English, too. I have a minor in English.
okay, but as a science teacher, an understanding of how this is possible is necessary, or not really?
It's possible, absolutely. Anything's possible today.
So that we could just suddenly freeze?
There's been cases.
That explains my shivers sometimes, Robin.
I think so.
Sometimes I get those shivers going on. Yeah.
Well, you as a physician assistant, though, you have you know all of the ins and outs of the human anatomy, so
Correct.
you're able to correlate this into a great story, but with all facts.
Based on facts, there's some facts I sort of stretch out. But yeah, they're based on facts. Any medical thriller novel is based on facts. Tess Gerritsen, example, she bases most of her novels on facts and builds around it.
Jessica, you have an easy name.
Yes. I married it.
So you didn't need a pen name, or
My maiden name was much more difficult. No.
did you ever consider a pen name, or?
I thought about a pseudonym, but I just decided to go with mine.
Okay, and Greg, did you ever consider a pseudonym?
No.
No. And is there a reason for that? Is it family pride? You just
Family
want-
pride, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
There aren't many Didaleusky's.
Well, I'm with
in the
you know
United
in
States,
radio
so-
we were encouraged to change our names. I said no. This is the name I was born with. I'm with you. I understand it actually. So the library event that's happening on the 13th last year, Robin and I went toward the end. I think we ran into you, Jessica, as you were leaving last year. Did we get you in on the podcast? I think we did.
I think
Last
so.
year. Last year we made a podcast at the library.
Oh, I don't know if I did, but that's okay because I
You
was
know,
here.
I actually think it was our first podcast, wasn't it, Robin?
Yes, it
I
was.
think so. If we go to in our archives, you'll see the first one. I think you're on
on
it.
your website.
I'm not sure.
Maybe I was.
I'm not sure where it is. I'm not sure.
I ate a lot of chocolate that
Oh.
day. I don't
Oh,
remember.
did you really? Did you really?
Nerve-wracking. Have either of you done? We know you have done the book fair before, Jessica. But Greg,
I was
have you
there last year.
You were there last year, and then have you also been doing author signings throughout the year at
I
different
have not,
bookstores?
so.
And Jessica,
I was fortunate to be involved in the Citrus County. They celebrated their library's birthday, so I and some other Citrus County authors we had a table and at the Homosassa one and another one. I forgot the name of it, but so that was fun. But I haven't done any other signings since the book came out.
Greg, with a science background and a desire to write fiction, do you ever hold back because the layperson might not get it? Like quantum physics is over my head. I don't know that I get it. You probably get it. If you wrote a story using it, though, would there be a way to
You simplify it.
dumb it down for me?
Well, you have to simplify it. That's correct.
Really? And we had who did we have on? It was not an author. It was like it was somebody who gave advice to authors. I can't remember what her actual title was. And she said, don't write about time travel. Everybody writes about time travel. And I said, you're kidding. I love time travel stories.
I do too.
So, I mean, and coming from a science background, I mean, could you write about it and maybe break that whatever stigma time travel books have?
Well, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read time travel books, but I'm more interested in medically based thrillers
Okay.
than time travel.
And let's
Okay.
talk about Concealed Warnings. This is a prophetic medical thriller. What is this story about?
This one, I wrote this 2 years ago, and it deals with, I'll read what it says in the thing, it's easier to understand. Mankind may face extinction near the end of 2012. Deciphering recently discovered ancient Mayan hieroglyphs and solving unexplained cures of deathbed children holds the answer to our survival. It's actually based on the Mayan calendar, the 5,000 year calendar that ended this past
Wow.
December.
So now, do people read the book and go, "Oh, he was wrong"? Do they? Do they
Well,
think?
yes and no.
Oh, okay. Explain
Oh,
that.
Yes, I can't. Then nobody buy the book.
I gotcha. Jessica, let's be fair to the book, Love on the Range. Let's talk about that story specifically.
Okay.
What happens in there with Randy Ewers? I'm thinking.
Well, first of all, he's very attractive. I've never met him. I didn't even know. But
He's a good-looking guy.
in this story, there's a free-spirited socialite who wants to be employed as a writer, and her parents are very strict. So during the influenza epidemic, they send her to live with an uncle, and she decides to take the opportunity to do some detecting, kind of, for this secret agent guy.
Uh-huh.
And in the meantime, while she's trying to look for him, she falls in love with a rancher who is also I don't want to give it away. But a secretive guy. I don't know.
Okay.
She falls in love.
She falls in love with a secretive guy with a cowboy hat.
Uh-huh. And
It's so hard to get information from a novelist, isn't it, Robin?
I know. Well, we
Yeah.
don't want to give away.
I know, it's so hard. It's so difficult. We talk to novelists every other day, I think, and authors every day, but novelists not every day. But
And the funny thing is, when you're trying to sell your book to a publisher or an agent, you really are supposed to be able to get it down to one line, and it's very, very difficult. And then you have to get it down to one paragraph for a blurb, and it's really hard because we just want to talk about all the little parts of our book.
wow.
Do you go to some of the places that you write about so you can really experience the scenery and the ambiance firsthand?
No, because that book is set in Oregon, and I've never been to Oregon. But I did do a lot of Googling, and I looked at a lot of pictures, and I have some writer friends who are from the area, so I kind of asked them about it. And the second book, I was just called yesterday from my editor and offered a contract, so now I'm going to have a second one coming out
Oh, yay.
with the other characters in that book, Mary and Lou, and that will be set there.
And what's the name of that book? Can we tell?
I don't know. My tentative working title was Family on the Range,
Uh-huh.
Well, oh, wow.
but they could change it.
How exciting is that to get that call? That's got to be...
I was looking very silly as I jumped around the house squealing.
So what do you, any personal stories about when you first got published? Did you go out for dinner, or take a trip to Disney World or something? Greg, what did you guys do? You and Holly?
I think we went to Pennsylvania.
Just...
That's where part of our family is.
Oh, I
Oh,
gotcha,
nice.
I gotcha. And did you tell
And
them all?
because part of my second book took place in Virginia, in the Shenandoah Valley. It ended up, so we're very familiar with Virginia and Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow. Is it unusual for authors to congregate like this at the library? And do you actually benefit from each other?
Oh yes, we learned from each other. When we were there last year, we talked other authors, children book authors to nonfiction to fiction, and you just learn, different tidbits. How'd you do it? What was your secret to get an agent and so forth, so on. It was very beneficial. Plus for the public to ask us questions, so it worked both ways.
Yeah.
And when you write, Greg, and since it's a medical thriller, do you scare yourself sometimes when you have to create these
Scare Holly.
scenarios?
No,
Because
not
you
really.
have to, go through the scenarios and be the hero.
Not really.
No?
No. In medicine, you sometimes work under stress. You have to
Yes.
make, decisions within a few seconds or several seconds. So, I'm sort of used to that.
Okay, so you got
Gosh.
the "Did you scare yourself?" question. Jessica, do you get yourself hot when you write this stuff? If I was writing a romance novel, I'd have to stop every once in a while.
Well, the kind I write stop at kissing, so
Oh, you leave the rest to the imagination of the reader.
yes.
So it doesn't. Is that a no or?
She's blushing.
I'm not
I
really sure if
see.
that was a yes or a no, Robert.
They're both blushing.
Well, if I can make comment on my books, both my books and my third one too, is rated G.
Oh,
so
okay.
young people can read it.
Yeah, that's that's good.
From 8 years old to
And I know
109.
Jessica's are too. I was just having fun with her.
Yeah.
Do you, Jessica? Now I know Jessica. You have built into this wonderful ability to tell a story some kind of always an idea that you're going to have some kind of a message as well. right? That's the spiritual part of it, right?
Well, every writer is different. I think I said last time, some people plan things out and some people don't, and I don't plan that much about my books. But I think that in life and with every person, there is thoughts of God or thoughts of choices and consequences. And so I kind of feel like it's intrinsic to my characters because I think about God. So when I write my characters, they do. And not to say that they're me, but yeah, I mean, there is, I guess you're saying a theme, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
in
or
the books?
just kind of a moral.
Yeah.
It was, like an Aesop's fable kind of a thing, just kind of a message.
There
of some
is, and
sort.
I don't necessarily always plan it, but after I finish the rough draft, when I read the book, if I see something there, I do try to elaborate on it and make it stronger.
We've had, in this course of doing talk shows, many debates about intelligent design versus, evolution. And I've often thought, well, why don't the two coexist? I mean, it would make sense to me that God would say, you know what, I think the next one I'll make it a little bit better or a little bit different. So as a scientist, does this happen for you, Greg, when you're writing a book? Let's be specific about the book part of this, I guess. Does that not even come into play with your stories?
Basically, it doesn't come into play with my stories. I don't use religion per se, but again, my characters, there's no profanity in my books. And I mean, some authors do.
Right.
There's no sexual scenes in my book. There's intent or maybe thinking about it, but nothing explicit. Again, my books are for young people
Right,
too.
I gotcha.
And when I wrote the book, that's what I wanted to do for books.
Do you not to, I hope this isn't crossing that line between interviewer and interviewee, but do you have children?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And do they read the books?
Yes.
Okay. Are they, how old are they?
Well, one is, say, 32.
Okay, that's...
And the other one is late 30s.
Okay, I kind of had a hunch about that. Jessica, do you have children?
I do. I have 3 little boys.
All right. And they're not reading your books, right?
No, it's hard to get the 8-year-old to read anything.
Yeah.
But I would say, even though I would say mine are more PG because they're 2 adults falling in love, and I would think it would be more for someone maybe 14 or above, just because there is a little bit of kissing and more adult romantic concepts maybe.
One of the pieces of advice we get from those who talk about writing will say, write something you know. You disagree.
I say write what you feel.
Write what you feel.
Yeah, but I like to put emotion in my books, and there's so many things we don't know. I don't know organ, but I'll go learn about it and do my best, and I don't know how to be a secret government agent, but I sure wrote about a man who was.
Advice from a successful author right there. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to do a lot of research. I mean, she attests to that.
Is that
Yes.
fun? Is that fun?
You sometimes spend a month or two just doing the research. Looking like the Mayan culture. I had to learn about the Mayans that tied into my second book, Concealed Warnings. So I did a lot of research. I learned an awful lot about the Mayan culture.
Now, did you, after doing that research, because you wrote the book before December 21st, 2012, did you actually expect something to happen on that date?
Yes.
Wow. That's
and did
incredible.
you, when we had these, and we're still having them, these asteroids or meteorites, whatever they are, that's crashing into Earth, do you think that's actually part of it? Is there part of you that thinks that might be
Well, I think part of it too, and plus the bee situation, the bees suddenly dying. The bees pollinate the flowers, pollinate vegetables, and if the bees keep dying,
I thought
we're going to be a shortage of vegetables
Aren't
and
they
fruits.
making a comeback, or is it?
No, that's what we thought, but now all of a sudden
Oh.
they're dying again. I just heard on the news that
Oh, no.
the bees are, for some strange reason, they think it's a virus. They're not even sure.
Now, through all of
And then
you,
frogs are
Oh.
having only deformed, and
Now
that's
I'm
part of
getting
it too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
I didn't know about this.
there's a lot of creatures, and animals are going extinct now, partly because of man's encroachment on the forest and that.
Yeah.
But there's other animals going extinct they don't understand.
Yeah.
Will
So
this
if you
be-
just tie all these in, I mean, it sounds like a good premise to a book. But
Yeah.
is that your third book then? The premise?
no,
of
my
your
third book is that people in Ocala are suddenly going blind for no apparent reason. They're showing up at Ocala Regional Medical Center blind, and accidents are happening.
Wow.
Plane crashes.
Well, I would
That's my
suppose,
third book.
Yeah, that'll
Because
happen.
That's scary.
And that can happen. I mean, if you...
People can go blind right away, yeah.
You know,
Oh my gosh.
That'd be scary stuff.
I'm gonna have
That's why
to
he
read this
writes
with the lights on.
Do you both like the idea of the ebook? Do you have are your books ebooks? And
Yes.
and you like that idea?
but I like the feel of a real book, me personally.
Yeah.
But ebook is fine. I mean, Kindle and Book Nook and all the other ones, it's here to stay.
I saw a little girl in the grocery store. Her mom was buying groceries, and she was in the shopping cart with her little ebook, or I guess an ebook. It wasn't little,
Yeah.
the same size as everybody's, but
Yeah.
I love my Nook. I discovered that I can eat chips with one hand and hold it and turn the pages with the other. Where with a regular book, you eat the chip and you have to wipe your fingers off, then you have to turn the page. You can't really turn the pages on the thumb. So I love my Nook.
Because everything's so electronic, have either of you done a video trailer for any of your books?
I haven't.
I do have a trailer for Love on the Range on my website, which
Really?
is just jessicanelson.net. It's I did it myself, so it's not anything amazing. But it was fun to make, and I'll probably make another one for my new book. And eventually I'm probably going to play with some indie publishing, where I'll do my historicals with Harlequin. And then maybe do some other books on my own
oh
for
really?
fun. To see,
That's a cool
Wow.
idea.
just for fun to see what happens.
In indie publishing, is that self-publishing? Is that the same thing?
It's basically self-publishing, but it's not vanity publishing. I wouldn't pay somebody else and give them my royalties. I would do the work myself and keep all the royalties.
Oh, okay. See, I never even really knew what
Well,
vanity
it
publishing
really
meant.
wasn't a good idea before these e-readers came out, because you would self-publish with a lot of these companies who would take thousands of your dollars and give you very little in return and charge a lot for your book. But now with e-publishing, you can actually upload your manuscripts yourself. You can create your own covers. You can price your manuscript at whatever price you want to do it. And everyone has e-readers, so there's a market. You don't have to worry about getting your book into a bookstore
And that
or a
wouldn't-
library.
And that wouldn't violate your Harlequin contract?
No, everybody's contract's different. So
Huh.
any writers out there, if you're going to sign a contract, you need to look at it very carefully if you don't have an agent, and make sure that you have the rights that you want and you give them the rights that you want to give them.
Wow, wow. Is there something, do you know, and maybe you don't know this, and maybe based on last year since you both did it, was there something on your table that indicated the genre that you write? Was there anything on?
No, we had our own tables, and
You
we
did-
just set up our tables how
Oh,
we
okay.
wanted.
Okay, so if I'm browsing through the library and I see you, Greg, will there be something there that says, "Oh, this is a science medical
Correct.
writer"?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll have medical thriller. I have a little posters that go on these little platform things
That's
that
a
you
good
can
idea.
see. You can just visualize. And a little candy dish too, if you want a little piece of candy. So
You know what scares me about your
Nice.
book? You know what scares me,
There.
Greg? Did you ever hear this story? And you probably did. You probably both did. And I may have even brought it up last year. I don't know. But there was a book written in the 1890s or something like that about a big ship called the Titan, and it sank in April. And then,
Oh.
and then 1912, which we're almost up to that date now, I guess. Was it 1912?
Yes.
The Titanic sank. All of a sudden, what the guy wrote in the 1890s came true. Like he predicted the future.
It's a famous author, and I can't remember his name.
I can't
He wrote
either.
several books, didn't
But
he?
that's just one example. Yeah, I think so. But that's just one example of how science fiction all of a sudden came true.
Well, H.G. Wells is a good example of that.
Right.
The
So-
time machine. And,
So, Greg, what are you going to do if everybody goes blind in Ocala?
well, I guess gotta have to move from Ocala.
I think we're going to tell you to stop writing.
How did you come up with the gender of your hero?
Yeah, two
for your
choices.
book? I know.
It
I know.
was 50-50.
How did I come up with the gender of my?
Yeah, because sometimes people like to go veer to the male as the hero, and others like to go to the female.
Well, number one, I'm male.
Okay.
That's basically why. I can get in the head of a male better than I can a female.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
I have no idea what women think.
I have my wife to rely on. I mean, I know her very well, but
That's why we have to read romance novels, so we know what they think. Yeah.
Because you have to have likable characters, and then you have to have characters that you hate, but you sort of like them, too. So
That's-
that
yeah,
has
that's
to be
tough.
hard. Has to be hard to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's having a protagonist that is sort of on the fringe of a good guy or a bad guy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
trying to integrate that so it carries through the story. Yeah, my characters basically are just good guys at this point.
Oh, nice.
Everybody who finds a new author, or an author for the first time, not a new author, but an author for the first time, looks for the other books. If you're a new author and you only have one, that new fan is like anxious for the next one, right? But if you're the guy or the lady who wrote, a dozen or more books, and here comes the new kid just finding out about you for the first time, very happy to find out that you've got other books, right?
Correct.
Have you had letters like from fans about that? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad you have other books. Yeah.
Correct.
I
Wow.
don't have any other books. I only have that one right now. Just so y'all know.
I thought you had other books.
No.
Oh, so the one you just told us about is going to be the second one.
Yes.
So do you have a fan base right now that can't wait for Family on the Range?
I have no clue. I had a few very, very nice letters, and I hope that there are people out there who would like to read the next one. I think my family and friends have been my best support, so they'll probably, they seem very happy.
And your radio hosts.
And my radio
Yes.
hosts, who I'm friends with on Facebook.
I want to say that my biggest fan base is probably Lowell Correctional Institution. That's where I work,
Oh,
at the
okay.
women's unit.
Ah.
So I have a big
okay.
fan base there.
Oh my
You work at
gosh.
the women's unit and you don't know what women think?
I know how they act,
I
but
bet
I
you
don't know how
they-
they think.
That's a big difference there.
They're letting you know what they think.
Yeah.
I have a hunch. Right, Holly? You know. All
You've
right.
got to be a psychiatrist also.
Fun
When
interview.
you go through your life.
Greg Didaleusky. Did I say your name right?
Very good.
Thank you for so much for coming in. We will see you a week from Saturday. We'll be there. We'll be
Absolutely.
there late in the day. Well, in that 3-hour period, I should say. And Jessica Nelson, we'll see you. Thank you both for coming in. Good luck with everything. Jessica, you gave us your website, jessicanelson.net, correct?
Yes, sir.
Greg, what is yours?
I don't have a website as of yet.
So just go to Amazon or whatever. To buy the books?
Amazon.com, or you can go to All Things That Matter Press or Rogue Phoenix Press. Those are the two publishers
Okay.
of the books.
All right. And I think I see Robin taking notes, so we'll make sure that goes up on the website. This interview will be up on the website. So thank you so much, both of you, for coming in. Come back, and we'll see you a week from Saturday.
Thank you.
All right, we'll
Thank
take
you.
a little break, and we'll be right back ourselves.
In specialty crop news from the Southeast AgNet, well, more progress on the deal regarding numeric nutrient criteria. As the News Service of Florida reports that the House Rulemaking Oversight and Repeal Subcommittee has started the process for the legislature to accept a deal with the federal government that gives Florida more say over the state's river, lake, and estuary.